Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Chelsea news is back. Make sure you guys are subscribed to GBFC and smack a like if you are enjoying these summer videos. It's been a mad month of June. We had the mini transfer window. That was a little bit chaotic. Since the transfer window has reopened, it's been relatively quiet, I would say, on the Chelsea front. We have still been negotiating for Jamie Gittens. What we heard on match day against Esperance Tunis was that Chelsea were advancing. It was looking like it was getting closer. We're going to address everything in today's video. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, smack a like if you enjoy the Chelsea news, and let's begin with an interesting one. A couple of days ago, we spoke about Randal Kolo Muani, PSG striker. He's been on loan at Juventus. And this is apparently what he's had to say. He doesn't want to move to Chelsea. Kolo Muani does not want to join Chelsea, despite the transfer links. He wants to make his move to Juventus a permanent one, and Paris Saint-Germain want 45 million euros. First of all, that is about a 40 million euro loss for PSG. He's doing okay at Juventus. He's having a good competition in the Club World Cup. But look, I don't care if players don't want to come to Chelsea, and they outright say that because they've got other preferences, just leave them alone. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be plenty of players out there that will look at Chelsea as a favourable destination, somewhere they actually want to go and play. So if he wants to move to Juventus, let it happen. Move on to other targets. Let's move now into this. Chelsea are edging closer to a deal to sign Jamie Gittens. Borussia Dortmund are holding out for a £50 million fee. Now, I watched Dortmund yesterday. Jamie Gittens didn't feature. I think the move to Chelsea is probably just hours away, if I'm being honest. From what we heard on match day, it looked as though Chelsea were getting closer to reaching an agreement with Borussia Dortmund. And like years ago, Chelsea would have just been like, what do you want? All right, we'll pay it. Let's get the man, bring him in. At the moment, we're seeing Chelsea negotiating. And whether or not this ends up being beneficial to us or not, it depends on how many of our targets we actually manage to acquire. When it comes to the negotiations that we saw for Mike Maignan a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of June, I look at that and I think, well, we might not be wanting to get fleeced because he's got a year left on the deal, but either way, that price wasn't crazy. So we might be negotiating, but if we're negotiating to the point where we miss out on our targets, then this isn't beneficial for the club, especially when you're looking at the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal. These teams are doing mega business in the window. And look, they don't have the Club World Cup to be focused on. They don't have all of that other stuff going on, and they have got a rest period right now. They can make the players, sign the players, so that when they start their pre-seasons, everyone's fresh and everyone is there from the get-go together. Chelsea don't have that as a luxury, but then again, I think the luxury of having already earned 36 million quid for getting the last 16 of the Club World Cup is a luxury that I possibly would rather prefer to have. But the deeper into the tournament we go, obviously the more difficult it's going to be for us to be ready for the start of the season. Jamie Gittens, I've been warming to this, to be fair. Like, as much as I would have loved a Rodrigo, as much as I still would love Chelsea to sign a Morgan Rogers, maybe, a Mohamed Kudus, one of these kind of players. Jamie Gittens is an outright winger. I think we need him. Tyreek George scored a great goal the other day, but I don't think he's ready to be playing 30, 40 matches in a season, if I'm being fair. I think he still needs to get a bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And Jamie Gittens, for a Maresca system where we play so far out wide, when we're on the right side, whoever that left winger is, he's hugging that touchline. He hardly moves to come inside. But Gittens can do that when he's got the ball. He's a great dribbler. His shooting accuracy is also fantastic. And I think as much as, I've always said we need some experienced players, the winger position is not where you do that. You want explosive, you want quick, you want young, you want fast. And Jamie Gittens is all of those things. So, 50 million quid, all of these deals, we always want to talk about what does a player bring to Chelsea? Do we want the player? Is the price right? 50 million, I think, is a lot. I think this might end up being one of those where if he does come good, it's a bargain because he's young. But again, we're talking about gambles here. We're talking about a player that, as much as I do think it will work, 50 million is a lot of money considering what we wouldn't pay for Mike Maignan earlier in this transfer window. So, Nicolas Jackson leaving Chelsea this summer. There was talk about Aston Villa. there still could be something there because Unai Emery loves the player and he's worked with Nicolas Jackson before. But this is the latest when it comes to Italian interest in Nicolas Jackson from Fabrizio Romano. I think it's going to be complicated for Italian clubs to even approach Chelsea or Nico Jackson at the current conditions. Forget about the transfer fees you see on the Italian reports, around 40 to 45 million euros. Chelsea will never sit at the table for that money. Unfortunately, Nicolas Jackson's temperament and a red card against Newcastle, red card against Flamengo, these things don't really put Jackson in the best light. So when clubs are looking to negotiate, they might be coming in here thinking Jackson is a problematic player at Chelsea. And to an extent he is, but it's an internal problem that we've solved by bringing Liam Delap to the club. Chelsea aren't in this period of desperation right now where we've got a striker that can't stay on the pitch or isn't scoring goals because we've already addressed that. We've already bought Liam Delap in and he's made a very good start, in my opinion, to life as Chelsea's striker. I'm already seeing different parts of his game that I've wanted to see but haven't seen from Nicolas Jackson. So when it comes to 40 to 45 million euros, we know what Italian clubs are like. They take one look at Chelsea and they're like, now you're going to have to pay a premium to get our players in, but can we have a loan? Can we have a little loan? How about $1 million for the season? Piss off, mate. 40 to 45 million euros for Nicolas Jackson. I still believe there's a really solid player there in Nicolas Jackson. But how patient do I want to be at Chelsea? He's already had 2 seasons where the numbers have been good, but for large portions of those seasons, he's gone completely missing. And then towards the end of it, when there started to not only be pressure on him, pressure on the club, pressure on the idea that Liam Delap's come in, another striker's come in, he's crumbled under that pressure, hasn't he? And he's had a 2-match ban in the tournament now. So Nicolas Jackson to leave the club, it would depend entirely on what's going to come in the other way. The other day we even saw Christopher Nkunku getting minutes. I don't see a world where Nkunku stays at Chelsea, but I do certainly think Chelsea can't get rid of Jackson and Nkunku and not bring in another top player. So whether that is a Rodgers in the 10, maybe that's a Kudus, another attacking, versatile player, or are Chelsea going to still be there in the market? Remember, a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about Nick Voltemade. He scored 5 goals in the under-21 Euros, having a very good tournament. Maybe we readdress that again. Let's move now. This is very interesting. Obviously, Chelsea have Strasbourg under Bluco. And as much as Strasbourg were very, very close to it last season, they could have made Champions League, they could have made Europe, but they missed out. I think they got Conference League. And Chelsea's ownership group remains intent on adding Sporting Lisbon to their multi-club network. Chelsea is still actively interested in Sporting and have made contact with the club's top brass. Now, we've heard about Chelsea and interest in Portugal because of that market for young players. We've already seen us sign Dario Asugo from Sporting Lisbon. We've already bought Giovanni Quenda from Sporting Lisbon. But my biggest question here, right, with all of this stuff is Sporting Lisbon are very often a Champions League outfit. And we have seen countless stories. There was going to be what would have to happen if Strasbourg make it into the same competition as Chelsea? What would happen if it was, Nice and Manchester United? You got Crystal Palace who have had that issue as well. So there's a lot of things here which make this multi-club model, in theory, when it comes to like how can Chelsea get bigger and better, it makes a lot of sense because it will help us to be able to nurture and keep bringing those great young players in. But I don't want the attention to be taken away from Chelsea. This has always been my issue with the whole thing, is we spending a lot of money as Bluco, but it's not necessarily all infiltrating into our first team now. We're buying players for Strasbourg that we can then take to Chelsea. We should just be looking for some players that are already made in the market that are going to be able to bring us success now. Sporting Lisbon has been something that maybe Chelsea have been looking at. There seems to be a lot of conflicts here because Sporting Lisbon will probably be competing in the same competitions that Chelsea would be. But let's see how this develops further. Maresca feels Andrey Santos needs more sessions with him before he could become a starter. Now, a lot of people here are going to expect me probably to turn around and be like, nah, this is ridiculous. It's just because the club want to sell him. I think looking at Andrey Santos, yes, he got an assist in that game, but I don't necessarily think Santos is ready at the level that we see right now from Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez right now has got more goal contributions, I think, since the beginning of April in the Premier League than any other player, including recent games. Enzo has evolved massively. I think at the moment he's becoming indispensable to the Chelsea team, and we already know that there isn't even a conversation to be had about Moises Caicedo. This guy is going to be a mainstay at Chelsea for many years to come. He's going to go on to be a club legend. So unless Maresca is going to tweak the system, Andrey Santos, as great as he is, I don't see him displacing Enzo Fernandez right now. Enzo Fernandez has been in brilliant form, and as much as at the middle of last season, I was saying, look, we need a lot more from him. We did need a lot more from him. Now he's doing that. I don't think we can take him out of the side. So when it comes to Maresca saying that he needs more training sessions with Santos, remember, Santos, even though he went to Strasbourg last season, Premier League football, Chelsea, this is a level above. It isn't always going to be immediately translatable to take a player that's been doing well in a relatively similar system and then just plopping him in at Chelsea. It doesn't work like that. And I think when it comes to Maresca, I do think the club want to keep Santos. As much as it was a bit scary till we saw him come on the other day, I'm like, if this guy doesn't get any minutes again, when you've got Keane and Dewsbury Hall starting matches on the flipping right-hand side for Chelsea, I know that Santos can't play on that right wing either, but like, how is Dewsbury Hall getting minutes over Santos? Do you know what I mean? How is Asugo still coming on before? I know it's different profiles of players, but I think that is what Maresca wants to do here with Santos. It's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be, this is what you need to do. If Enzo Fernandez can play 90 minutes every game, if you're coming on, you've got to be able to replicate that standard. You've got to be able to replicate those levels and do these roles within that Chelsea team. So as much as, you know, I want to see Santos play, we're now into the knockout phases of this Club World Cup. This is where the competition gets serious. We've got Benfica. If we beat them, then we've got Botafogo or Palmeiras, and after that it could be flipping what, Man City or Juventus or one of those teams, Inter Milan. Like, Chelsea now, we're in the knockout phase. We've got to take the competition seriously. And if Maresca doesn't think Andrey Santos is ready, right now, I'm backing Enzo Maresca. If that's what he thinks, I like seeing Asugo come on. I think he's solid. I think defensively, he provides us a bit more protection. But Andrey Santos is a great player. We need to see minutes for him, but I think this is smart from Enzo Maresca. Don't rush him in just because we're all excited. I think the balance right now is good. Let's move now into this story. Chelsea have asked for information on Barcelona and German goalkeeper Marc Andre Ter Stegen this summer. Now, if you take a look here, but let me show you guys this. So Ter Stegen, 8 matches played in La Liga last season, only 1 in the Champions League, and that is because there is multiple goalkeepers at Barcelona. Wojciech Szczesny, let's see how many games he played, 15 in La Liga. Inaki Peña as well, another Barcelona goalkeeper, 16 La Liga matches, and they're flipping, didn't they sign Joan Garcia, or they're trying to sign Garcia, the Espanyol goalkeeper? Like, there's no space for Marc Andre Ter Stegen at the club. And to be quite honest, I was thinking, well, Ter Stegen's getting on a little bit, isn't he? But I feel like, you know, he's only 33 years old. He's not exactly stupidly old. He's been at Barcelona for 10 years. If you look at these here, crosses stopped, he's in the top 11%. Defensive actions outside the penalty area, clearly good with the ball at his feet. Average distance of defensive actions as well, in the top 10% per 90 minutes. So, I think there is some kind of deal available for Ter Stegen where he can leave for free this summer. Maybe this is an option for Chelsea. Mike Maignan was the dream signing in goal. We've pulled out of that now. I was talking to people the other day. Some people think Marcin Bulka at Nice could be a good option. But Ter Stegen, I don't think he's all past it, you know. 33 for a goalkeeper. You can still get 3 or 4 years out of him, potentially, at a high level. Let me know your thoughts on Ter Stegen in the comments down below. Really good goalkeeper. Been playing at the top level for some time. Let me know your thoughts on this and all of the other stories in the comments down below. Don't think it's going to be long now till we see Jamie Gittens become a Chelsea player. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. We've got Benfica coming up on Saturday. Your preview for that game will be out tomorrow with the Chelsea news as well. Thank you guys for watching. See you all later.